you're about to see was filmed by me in Gibraltar. I interviewed my uncle, who's Dr. Eric Shaw, over the finds he'd found over the years. He's been over there many years and found some amazing things. These videos were in a few parts, so please stay tuned. Let me know if you like them or not, and we'll make some more in the future. Right, we're going to be interviewing Dr. Eric Shaw. This is his office and where he does most of his work from. He's going to be explaining some of the things actually in his cabinets and the things he's found over the years. So, can you explain what you actually got?
Well, there's Roman anchors and there's amphoras. This is a Roman anchor, very, very large Roman anchor. How you tell the difference between when they were made and when they weren't made is by taking a piece of the lead out of it and you're looking at the silver content. Not only will the silver content tell you basically when it was, but it'll tell you from which mine it came through. At the latter part of the Roman Empire, when it was on the decline, they started to take the silver out of them. In these cabinets here, we've got two pieces of it. Well, look, they're very heavy for a Roman anchor. That's a small Roman anchor, or part of a Roman anchor, and basically how the Roman anchors work, which is a lot of people don't understand. They think that is the anchor itself. It's not, it's the stock. And let me show you. So the one underneath there is the stock. And what happens with these stocks is you finish up with a little bridle like that. And what happens is the centre post comes down straight through that, pokes out the bottom, and that's a point with a little lead covering on it, which is coming out of that square, which is on top, set at a 90-degree angle. That piece of wood will come down like that through it. There are two pieces of wood coming out at an angle there, lead covered, made out of timber, and that timber will have come from Lebanon, and it'll be cedar. It's very, very strong, doesn't rot, doesn't get waterlogged, doesn't get dribble worm in it and things like that, but they stick out at the side there. And what happens with the stock at an angle like that, it drops on the seabed. When it hits on the ground like that, it falls over because of its weight, and what it will do when it lands there on the seabed, turns over, it then turns that at an angle like that, so that spike is going into the sand or the rock, and it snags it on the seabed. And that holds it on the seabed. These things are put down, dropped by men. They're very, very heavy. They're pulled up by men. They had winches of a sort, but not quite like winches we've got today. And what would happen is the pieces of wood would break off. If the stock breaks off, you finish up just bringing that part of the anchor up and you lose that part. But there's times when you lose everything. The rope snaps and then it leaves the stock part on the top, the bridle on the bottom, and they're left lying on the seabed. And divers like myself come along and we find them. If we want to know how far back they go, we take a piece off and we send it to have it analysed and have the silver content worked out, and we'll find out which one of the silver mines during the Roman Empire that particular piece of lead came from. You could have that one coming from somewhere else and that one coming from elsewhere because they may have saved the stock and that's put a new bridle on with different lead. This particular one was made in situ. If you get very close to it, you see how the lead, when it's cooled, it's gone down. So this has been made in the sand. First they cast it, cut out the shape of the anchor in the sand, put the piece of wood in ready, because there's a bar going across the middle of it, and they put it on it, then they pour the lead. And when they've poured the lead, they've got the stock on a big piece of wood like this, then they fit that part to it at the top. And that's the Roman anchor itself. It wouldn't have one anchor on board, it would have several anchors on board. The little one in there is a light anchor. This is a very heavy anchor, so that would have been a larger boat. And they all come from about 2,000 years ago. And that's the Roman anchors on the boat, and fortunately in the Straits of Gibraltar, not that bad, which are called the non plus ultras, nothing beyond. When the currents get very strong and it was going out, they actually believed that it was funneling out and you'd fall off the edge of the world. So they didn't really want to go all the way out there. Only the Phoenicians went out. That's why the Phoenicians were in England first, they were down the African coast first and everywhere. Everybody was afraid of the non plus ultras, the Pillars of Hercules, where the currents went fast because it was now good. You didn't want to get anywhere near this waterfall. Had they have kept going, they'd have got to Cadiz, it dissipates and they would have been in the Atlantic. But fear stops them from going that far, and the Phoenicians kept up this wonderful rumour with the non plus ultras, and the Phoenicians, bless them, with King Melkarthes, thousands of years ago, he asked them to map his land. Well, he started in the Red Sea. And they went down the African coast that way, and he wanted to know how much land he'd got. They went all the way down Africa, and then they came round it, and then they came up it, and then they came in the Straits of Gibraltar. But that took about 3 years for them to do that. But when they came in to the Mediterranean, they knew exactly where they were. And they sailed all the way back down the Mediterranean, reported to the king what they'd done, but they'd gone and they'd circumnavigated Africa. But the readings were all wrong, because you're looking at the moon and you're looking at the stars and you're looking at the sun, and all of a sudden the sun was on the wrong side. Well, obviously you've gone down Africa and you've turned round. Of course the sun's on the wrong side. You're not going in a straight line anymore. You're not over here anymore doing that. You've turned round and now it's doing that and coming up on the opposite side of the boat. And it's only about 20, 25 years ago, looking at the old writings and everything, we suddenly realised that they circumnavigated Africa 600 years before Christ.